Good morning. It's Joe Herrera live from Las Vegas. Stoked to be here with my guy, Ryan Rodenbeck in Austin, Texas. And Ryan and I met at Curator Excellence 3 years ago?
4 years ago.
4 years ago. And we didn't share the stage, but we were both up on stage there. And so part of the reason, again, why we're doing study hall, but a large reason why I started Real Estate Agent Campus in the first place was to have a meeting place. Ryan and I are both part of the Curator community, but then I've got a lot of friends who are not members of the Curator community, so they're not on the Curator Facebook groups and stuff. And so I just wanted a location where agents that I respect, like Ryan, could share with me, I could share with them, and kind of collaborate and learn. And so that's what Real Estate Agent Campus, the Facebook group, is designed for. And then this Facebook Live Deal Study Hall is just kind of a concept I had, which was, rather than me hitting up Ryan on a weekly basis or monthly basis to ask him what he's doing and then tell him what I'm doing, to just on a weekly basis bring somebody on like Ryan. Last week was Chad Priest, next week is Amy Youngren, just to say, like, what are you doing in your business? What's working? What are you excited about? What do you got going moving forward? So I guess first things first, Ryan, for people who don't know you, talk a little bit about where you're at, what you're doing, company structure, team structure, things like that.
Yeah. So first of all, very happy to be here. Thanks for the invite. And, for those of you who are watching maybe for the first time or don't know me, my name is Ryan Rodenbeck. I own a company, Spyglass Realty and Investments, in Austin, Texas. We just celebrated our 10th year in business.
Awesome.
We have, I think, 14 agents right now. We actually have a few more, but like 3 or 4 more that are just kind of part-time, which is not something I'm going for in the future. But they're friends of mine or certain relationships.
Yeah.
And like you, Joe, I think, I am I feel like you and I and maybe a few others in the industry are as kind of, well, no other word to say it, but geeky when it comes to internet leads, internet conversion, social media marketing. We each have our different kind of niche, and I know, you and I and Amy collaborate a lot. She's kind of more of a culture girl, I think. And so that's where I'm at right now. And for the future, I'm working on trying to expand my horizons a little bit.
What happened is I have 2 screens on my desktop, and I unplugged one of them thinking that it would make it run a little bit smoother.
All right, man.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yay, all right.
Sorry about that. So I've got 2 screens on my desktop, and when I'm doing this live stuff, that I can hear my computer starts to really bog down. So I was like, let me unplug one of my screens, and then boom, sound died. All right, so you were talking about, I heard you talk a little bit about the ISA stuff. I know that's been a challenge for us, but so the format here is kind of like 3 things. What are you doing? What have you done? What are you excited about? So first things first, Ryan, what do you got going? What are you excited about?
Yeah, so what's interesting is, like, we literally just did our vision planning for 2019, and last year we did a strategic plan. The goal was to grow to 30 agents by the end of 2019, and then 100 agents by the end of 2021, I believe. Okay. And so what we really got focused on this year, what we're getting focused on this year, is building a better company culture, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of like reinventing myself of how I examine, agents, and how I work with the agents that I already have. So my goals for the end of this quarter are to get 5 agents per quarter, right? Ooh. Which I have, I think, 3 more agents to go for that. And then increasing the agent production. And the way we're going to do that is better conversions for the agents. We're doing these self-directed accountability groups. And we're also doing a big push to promote our agents and what they're doing with their buyers and what they're doing with their sellers on social media. We want to give them tools that they can use to promote themselves to their sphere of influence, their past clients, and any potential clients.
Yeah. That's awesome. I think company culture is really tough to maintain. It's tough to set and harder to maintain. So Taylor and I have gone through this process where there's another curator client here at our brokerage, a guy named Julio Rojo, and his team just mashes. He came onto our brokerage with one agent. I don't know if you met Julio, but he's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
He came on with one agent, or actually he came on as a solo agent, has built up, and now he's got like 9 buyers agents and 3 admin staff. So far, I think they've already done 10 or 15 transactions this year, which is awesome because January traditionally sucks here in Vegas. But what happened is they outwork our team. I mean, our team production is still, significantly higher than theirs. At least it was in 2018. Yeah. But Taylor and I sat back and said, like, bro, the culture of his team is they show up and work. And if they are not here on the phone, making calls, forget about attracting, they're straight up chasing.
Yeah.
They're out showing houses or doing open houses or Facebook Live videos at properties. And so Taylor and I have had to like rewind our culture to say, guys, it's been cool that we've been able to do what we've been able to do up until this point with, kind of part-time work.
Yeah.
But if you're on our team, you are here and working, or you're out showing properties, and there's no in between.
Yeah.
And so that's been a process that's not easy, but that has been, it's funny you said that, because the company culture, as far as work ethic and expectations and things like that, I think historically Taylor and I have always said, well, let's just keep spending more and more money to generate more and more opportunity. So there's more and more fruit.
Yeah. So I just finished last night the book called The Culture Code, and it is phenomenal. I mean, it was just so enlightening. And I think one of the quotes in the book was like, you give a mediocre idea to a good idea to a mediocre team, and they will screw it up. If you give a mediocre idea to a good team, they'll make the best of it. And so what we're trying, like you said, I'm trying to rewire myself. I've kind of had this authoritative, like, leadership direction, if you will. And now I'm really focused on collaboration and training and accountability, and not the accountability type where you're like, what did you do? I want, like in that book, they talk about asking a lot of questions and created a very safe space and having people, come up with stuff on their own. And I think it's been pretty enlightening, and then on the other side of it, for the recruitment part of it, what I've been doing, I mean, just like you, Joe, is like, we've been putting stuff out there for our friends, for our agents, for, a couple of years now, where we're putting out what we're doing, our best practices. So I started kind of mass producing that, even more so than I already have. And I'm putting it out there on social media to the agents. I'm putting it out there in emails. And, I'm not really out there trying to like recruit people that I'm calling to action. I'm just asking people, hey, here's what I have to give. And then when these conversations come up, it's going to be much easier. My goal for 2019 is to build a world-class team with however many people I have, whether it's 15 or 30.
Yeah, and the temptation for somebody like you, I understand, because it's the same for somebody like me, because we're very much alike, which is we have our secret sauce, and I'm always afraid that if I tell people what's in the fried chicken, they're going to duplicate the KFC. But what Taylor's helped me to understand, what Chris Smith has helped me to understand, is like, bro, most people won't make the chicken even if you walk them and teach them how to do it. So why are you such a closed book? And that's, for sure, been one of my weaknesses in the past, not just with my city, but with my own agents, is I don't always share with them what are secrets to success, out of fear that I'm then creating my competition. But the reality is, there may be some people who take things, like every Facebook ad running in Vegas has some semblance of what we've done for 5 years now. So they've all kind of copied it. Yeah. But it's not the ad creation or even the spend or the technology, but the execution that matters. And the real way I can affect company culture is to affect execution, because ad creation and all that book, like that's not what does it. It's the execution. And so it's taken forever for me to understand that, to open up a little bit.
I went through that last year. I kind of opened up probably about a year ago on that. I had my reservations. I was like, if I'm telling someone, are they just going to duplicate the process?
Right.
And then what I realized was that, there's only one me and there's only one you, Joe. I can go, if you and I were in the same market, I could go and spend 2 weeks with you and learn everything you do. And I still would not be able to do it like you can, right? And vice versa, right? So I think it's like, I'll be able to learn a lot from you and you'll be able to learn a lot from me, but we're going to have our different styles. And that's you and me, because we're on a high level, right? But think about everybody else that doesn't execute as much as us. And I think really the only difference between you, me, and everyone else that maybe isn't doing as much business is they just aren't executing and failing on a daily basis.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Well, and the other thing is to consider the pie. We're not even at 1%. I want to get to 1%. Our company, our brokerage was almost to 1% in numbers of transactions done on an annual basis. There's about 70,000 sides in Vegas every year.
Yeah.
And we were at about 550. So we were almost to 1%.
Wow.
That's our entire brokerage. And so it's like, even if somebody copies me, it may affect 0.01 per, it's just such a small thing. So
yeah, even if they copy you exactly and they're able to pull it off, that leaves 98% left.
Yeah, exactly.
And the other thing that I found was in Austin, like I'm on the board of directors with the Austin Board of Realtors. I've been doing a lot of work with the Platinum Top 50 here, doing classes. Man, I have embraced my competition here big time, and it's helped me so many ways. And I think even like when my agents get into a deal with someone that knows me, like they know me as a guy that's nice, that's collaborative, right? So it really helps. And it just builds this sense of community within my local agent community. And that's like what I've realized over the last year, what I want to do more than anything else is my top priority is help other people succeed, right? And by way of that, I will succeed. That's the undertone, that's the side effect of that mentality and creating a culture of that.
Yeah, well, I love this comment from Judy. Obviously, Judy's a friend of ours. No one can ever be you. And I think the reality is if I focus on creating the best me that I can possibly be and be willing to share that me, it actually, in a sense, eliminates more competition than being super secretive. Because if I'm open and collaborative and creative and the best me as I can possibly be, that is the hardest thing to duplicate.
Yeah, and then the other part of it is that, if you have that within your culture, within your team, within your brokerage, people don't want to leave, right? You're going to have that happen, to some effect. But I think that the company culture part of it is a really big deal. And I'll be really interested to see your interview with Amy, because I think she's really got it going on when it comes to that. I mean, when I look at you, I look at like lead generation, lead conversion. When I look at Amy, I look at branding and company culture.
Exactly.
And that's why it was so cool when you and I and Amy took a picture last 2 weeks ago in Vegas. I was like, I'm going to frame this somewhere.
So Judy asked really quick, how are we multi-broadcasting this? So yeah, Judy, we're using BeLive TV. Ryan and I, in leading up to this, Ryan hit me up and said, hey man, I want to share this because he's collaborating in his marketplace, but the group is private. And so I went on and opened up the group. So now it's not even a private group anymore. So if you're watching this video, the collaboration and the openness is happening in real time, but it's going to take some policing because every once in a while I'll let somebody in the group and then they post like an open house they have coming up. And I'm like, bro, you totally misunderstand what this group is. So anyways, all right. So company culture is number one. Ryan, what's number two for you? What's something you're doing or something you are going to be doing that you're excited about?
Yeah. So number two is increasing our brokerage, right? And when I say increasing our brokerage, increasing our number of brokerage, a number of agents in a responsible way that does not go against the fray, right? Like, I have a leadership team with Sonny and Johnny. I think you met both those guys, right? And they're just really solid, and when I interview someone, I think about not just the rest of my team, but mainly those guys. Like, is Johnny or Sonny going to get pissed about, this person? Because if they are, then that's not going to happen. Then we had another person that we interviewed, and, she hit all the right bases. She was a former broker. She had a team leader, but she just didn't have any history of sales. There was something bothering me about it. And I had Johnny interview her, Sonny interview her, and they were like, we think she's okay. It's like, well, that's not the feeling I want to get, right? So we're real interested in growing responsibly. And it doesn't mean we need an agent that does $10 million, right? We just need someone that has a somewhat of a history. Like, I think my favorite people that I think we're going to be more successful with than anything else are the people that have been in the industry for less than 3 years, that have started at maybe one of these big box brokerages, that they've got this kind of little training, and they've done, $1.5 to $2 million, and they work hard, but they may just, they may have just not picked the right place. So that's going to be big for us. And, again, we don't want to hire new agents. I mean, we've done that before. We hired 8 in the last couple of years, and 4 of them are still with us, but that's really hard. But I just did hire one yesterday, super sharp young lady, got her license in November, and she's actually been an ISA for 3 years, and she does social media marketing on the side. She was a total culture fit with what we have.
Well, think about how ridiculous this is. When someone is dating or getting into a relationship, they evaluate the person based on how much time they want to spend with them and how much they want to invest into a relationship.
Yeah.
Makes total sense. In the first 2 years of growing our brokerage, we literally would bring on almost anybody. Like, if they weren't going to get us sued, we would bring them on.
Yeah.
We've now gone to the point to where Taylor and I have kind of found our product market fit as far as what our brokerage offers to the marketplace, which has been a cool process for us. But now we're being selective and saying, if Taylor interviews him or if I interview him, it comes down to like, bro, do we want to invest our time in this person?
Yeah.
And there's people who maybe have even done production, but we're like, yeah, I don't want to take calls from this person. And it's so it's not about being judgmental. It's not about being a jerk. It's about going, each agent that comes onto our brokerage is a time investment on our part. Yeah. And so if we're going to invest our time in this person, it has to be somebody that when they call me, I'm not like, oh my gosh, here we go again. And we've done that in the past. We always try to answer our phone. We always try to have an open door policy. And in reality, we've gone through a similar process you've gone through, which is I try to treat it the way I would dating, which is, am I willing to invest my time and effort and energy and creativity into this person? And I guess it's only possible to do that from a position of strength. We went from 15 agents to, I think our brokerage has about 75 now. Yeah. So in the last 2 weeks, though, we brought on about 100 transactions in production. Wow. In the form of 3 or 4 agents. Yeah. And so these agents are like, man, imagine if we can have a 25 to 50% effect on their business. That now has taken our brokerage from 500 transactions to 650 or 700 in people that we actually want to invest our time and effort into. Yeah. Yeah. And I it's funny when you're trying to grow, especially when you don't have that many agents, like you just want those numbers up, right? Unless you're smarter than me.
And then once you get through the growing pains of having some people come and people leave, then you start to be more smart about it, and you start to see who's going to be involved with the team and who's going to be someone that takes your resources and really gives you that bad energy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So number 3, number 1 is culture. Number 2 is brokerage growth. Number 3 for you is what?
Number 3 is focusing on our agents' conversion and recognition, right? What I've realized in the past couple of years is that, we have a very big social media following in Austin. In fact, our social media following is much larger than we are,
Right.
I spend a lot of time on Facebook. We've got, I think we have we probably have the largest Instagram following of any independent brokerage in Austin. And, I lost an agent last year because they went to a company that did all this automated stuff, right? And we had set up some systems at the beginning of last year that were, if you need this, this, and this, all you have to do is come to us, right? And I put that out there. But what I realized, Joe, is that's not enough. That's not enough to say, hey, I'm Ryan Rodenbeck. I'm the leader of the company. Come bother me for something. Like, people don't want to do that, like they don't want to be bothered by me. So what we did, as soon as this agent left, I just, I got a fire lit under me, and we built out all these Trello processes so that when an agent has a listing that they are, that they have, that is mandatory. They have to send, we have a Google form where they send in the description and the virtual tour, and then my team can then put out templates for Facebook, Instagram, and Google AdWords, right, for retargeting. And we will send that back to the agent, and they, it's up to them what they do with it. I'm not going to make them post that to their social profile, okay? But what we will do is we're going to post that all over our stuff. And, what I realized is that, having stuff to post on Facebook and Instagram, that's not just a benefit to my agents, it's a benefit to me. So I started posting these things for like $3 a day. Like, we already get great engagement on Instagram. We already get great engagement on Facebook. But why not just put, a few dollars a day towards that? And then lastly, with that part is that, like, we have it's 4 stages of listing: coming soon, just listed, under contract, just sold. We're retargeting every single stage of that listing to the people that came in, and then we're retargeting that to the people that saw other listings on our site as well.
Nice.
And it's all agent branded. It's all for the agent. So that's my thing. Like, 2019 is the year where, I'm going to take the hit of losing production and focusing on the agent so that I can get out and focus on the things that I want to focus on. And what I really want to focus on is building a great world-class team. Yeah,
and I think you're well on your way. Anybody that knows you knows that you're an innovator and that you're committed. That stuff, I'm excited to see how it goes. I like to, now this is episode number 2, so I want to say like each episode, but episode number 2, share something that we've been working on that I think you'll find interesting.
Sure.
So I guess first things first, we hired a coach. It's been really tough for us. Probably just because of our own pride. It's hard for us to listen, to pay someone to coach us that does less production than us. And I think that's just a pride thing, or it's kind of like if I'm gonna let somebody lift me to higher ground, I want to make sure they're standing on ground higher than I am. I'm not so much interested in a push from behind as much as a reach from the top. So we're working with Brett Tanner. He's out of Phoenix. I think his team did like 700 sites last year, which is insane. We were right around 260. So we've got, he could, there's a lot of room for growth there. So that's first things first. But one of the things he helped us recognize is in the ISA department. And so we've been through, I think, 3 of our coaching calls that last an hour every other week. And so we just kind of rip our business apart, and he kind of points a lot of things out. So one of the things he pointed out to us is the huge flaw we have in our ISA department, which is, for the last 8 months, we've put a lot of money into the ISA department. At its peak, we had 5 ISAs. So we had like a $10,000 a month ISA overhead. And what we were doing was all incoming leads would go to the ISAs. The ISAs would be in charge of nurturing and converting and handing those off to buyer's agents. The flaw in that plan was Taylor and I don't take those leads and close them ourselves. And so the way our team works is if you get a lead from us, we recapture. It ends up being about 43% of the commission total after splits and admin fees and everything else. It actually would go down even from there with the ISAs. But in any event, we basically arrived at a point to where Brett helped us realize like there is no return on investment if we run a buyer-centric ISA team. It's not going to pencil out.
Yeah.
The only type of ISA program we can run that will give us a return on our investment is seller lead generation, in which Taylor and I go and take the leads. So we're a couple weeks into that. He's given us some cool metrics that I'll share, in upcoming episodes, but it's been a big shift for us. We currently have 2 ISAs that are full-time, but their entire focus, which is tough because we try to get them focused on sellers and they keep gravitating back toward buyer leads. But if you think about on the seller side, we're going to retain about 93% of the commission.
Yeah.
So every seller side we do is going to help cover the cost of that ISA. Like in Vegas, if the average listing is 300,000, the average commission is going to be about 9. We're going to recapture about 8 after advertising and admin costs. That $8,000 will pay for 4 months of an ISA salary. Where on a buy side, a $300,000 purchase, we recapture, $4,000. We're, all of a sudden only covering 2 months. And so they better produce 1 a month for us to even make any money, which was tough for us.
Well, so what you're doing is, your ISAs are no longer focused on buyers and they're going to sellers.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and when you told me, I think it was last year when you were doing the ISA, I thought that was pretty funny because like, I don't really know anybody that in the nation that can run a team that converts like you. And it was funny when you were saying that, and I went to, speak of coaching, I went to the Chef Black Live 2 weeks ago in Vegas, and they had a guy speaking up there that was saying something about, I think bringing the ISAs on, like that took the responsibility out of the agents. And at some point it cripples the team a little bit, right?
Exactly.
And I thought that was just kind of very eye-opening, and I could see why you're going to this. And that totally makes sense because like you and Taylor are freaking busy, as I am as well. Like we know we're going to execute what we can, but that's only, after we do everything else, it's just that much when it comes to sales. We need an assistant for that. So that's a huge takeaway from this.
Well, we were blunting our producers' ability to convert because they were no longer responsible for conversion. And so it was like our ISAs were setting a ton of appointments. The appointments were converting at about a 35% rate. But then because there was no connection between the agent and the client until that meeting, the meetings weren't going great and they weren't going into contract. And we just realized that we had basically taken street fighters and all the training that they were doing in preparation for their fights, we removed from them. And so now it was like somebody else is doing the push-ups and sit-ups and jump roping. And then all of a sudden our guys were expected to show up to the fight. Where now we've gone back to where all the leads come into our agents. They're super sharp. We've created a lead pond that our agents are responsible to call that lead pool every day for at least an hour. They're pulling people out of it. So our agents are really, really sharp now at lead conversion. And so we've kind of divided up our business to where lead generations and systems management and conversion coaching belong to Taylor and I. Our agents are responsible for contacting, nurturing, showing properties, writing contracts. And then our admin team goes from contract to close. And so we've all got our independent jobs. And the ISA thing is now a support for Taylor and I to go get listings. And the jury's still out, but we're optimistic that we'll be able to make that number pencil, where the buy side ISA just didn't work. It defies logic because Taylor, he designed a beautiful system. He was on top of them. The numbers were dialed in. I mean, the reporting was perfect. Like Taylor and I literally would bang our head against the wall because we're like, why is this not working? But Brett helped us to understand, like, even if it does work, the profitability is going to be tough because you're only recapturing 40-something% of the commission.
Yeah, and I think that's a beautiful, mind shift for you because, when you look at these ISAs for you guys, in fact, I probably wouldn't even call them ISAs. I'd probably have them, do something. I mean, maybe that's what they are, but really, like, I like the way you framed it before. They're support systems for you and Taylor. And throughout the years, I've met so many people that have got into the ISA game, and I have never met anyone that has done it long term. And when I say ISA, I'm talking like the buyer ISA, for your team, So that's a huge takeaway, and that's something that, like, I need to unshackle those cuffs because that's on my radar for the next 2 months is how do I loosen up without, because they are helping, they are helping conversion, but our conversion could be so much better. And when I say ISA, I'm using a service for us. I don't have full-time people. Right. So, yeah.
All right, Ryan, thank you so much. Ryan is in Austin, Texas. So he's got a great team. If you have any clients moving to or from Austin that need a great agent, a great team, Ryan is your guy. Absolutely. As always, I'm here for Vegas. One of the things that I hope we accomplish in the agent campus is to be able to say, I know for sure if I've got somebody buying or selling in Austin, they're going to Ryan's team. I'm sure he's going to refer us all of his Vegas stuff. So you actually have. That's true. So if you have any need in Austin, hit up Ryan. Ryan, your website is what?
It's Spyglass Realty, and I'm on Instagram at Spyglass Realty. I also have a kind of like coaching Instagram platform. It's at RealtyHack. And I'm going to be distributing this video as well. So if you're watching this, you can follow this Agent Campus, right?
Yeah, Real Estate Agent Campus. Yep.
Real Estate Agent Campus, Joe Herrera. I said that right. Yeah.
You did, man. It's not Herrera.
I always said it right. I don't know why Chris can't do it.
All right, buddy. Well, thanks so much for hopping on, Ryan. And guys, hope you're having a great day. We'll see you next week with Amy Youngren.
Thanks a lot.